Hi, I'm Brittany Ashley, your host of Breaking Norms, Building Dreams, your guide through this transformative journey in both business and life. This is your place crafted for dreamers, doers, or anyone who has been told they can't. Get ready as we challenge those narratives together. You're tuning in live to the United Public Radio Network, airing on 105.3 and 107.7 FM in New Orleans. We are streaming on all the popular platforms every Monday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join me for a candid and thought-provoking conversation celebrating your unique journey because you are worth it. Hello, everyone. Happy Monday. So happy to be with all of you today. It's a hot one here in Victoria, isn't it, Joyce?
Oh my gosh. We need sprinklers.
Yeah, I'm in my daughter's room. So no air conditioning on this side of the house. But happy Monday to everybody. I hope everyone's having a wonderful Monday. You're listening to Breaking Norms, Building Dreams. I'm your host, Brittany Ashley, and we are broadcasting live on the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network on 105.3 and 107.7 in New Orleans. Get ready to escape the next hour as we break norms and build dreams with Joyce today. I'm so excited to have you, Joyce.
Oh, thanks for having me, Brittany.
Mm-hmm. Joyce and I have some secret things that we're shaking up and behind the scenes. So make sure you listen throughout the whole conversation today, because we're not sharing it until the last 15 minutes of the show. So I'm making you sit with us. But before we really get into the last piece, let me do a little introduction on Joyce. And then Joyce, you can take lead on telling us more about your journey. So everyone, Joyce Loves for Finance started early, thanks to her dad's advice. Always save for retirement, even if you have to borrow to do it. She contributed to her RRSP every year, but 6 years ago, she had a wake-up call. Her kids weren't getting the tools to build wealth early, and most families weren't either. 3 years ago, she left her corporate career to become a full-time entrepreneur. Now she helps individuals, families, and business owners get out of debt, protect their income, and grow wealth in Canada. Her monthly event, Money Mimosa.
Mimosa.
Yeah. I think my brain's not up yet. Thank you. Offers a fun, casual, judgment-free space to learn and share. Her mission to empower people to make informed financial choices so they can stop worrying about the what if and start building the future they've worked for with time, energy, and freedom. I'm so excited to have you, Joyce.
Thank you.
Yeah. I didn't realize that you started the entrepreneur journey in 3 years. When I was reading your intro, I was like, oh.
Well, do you know what, Brittany? I think I started when I was 19, honestly. I was in Hawaii when I was 19, and I saw Mrs. Fields Cookies franchise, and I wanted right then to bring that to Canada, but they weren't ready for me at that point. So I think it was planted the seeds then.
Yes, I love that. I feel like we as entrepreneurs, sometimes, I think in today's society, it's just so normal to go university, kind of high school, university, corporate, or 9 to 5, even if it's not corporate. Mm-hmm. And so thinking about entrepreneurship, it's kind of in a way, I don't want to use the word taboo, but it kind of it's kind of, no, you need to follow this rule. You need to follow this alignment. But I think with COVID, I think it shook it up a little bit. And I think everybody's like, maybe we don't need those corporate lifestyles anymore.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree with you, because COVID did change it for specifically for me to really cement the idea of going the entrepreneurship route. Yeah. And as as I talk to more and more people these days, a lot of people have side hustles because they're not able to make ends meet, or they just want to do something more meaningful and purpose for their lives. Mm-hmm. So definitely. 100%.
Yeah, maybe I know I did a little bit of an intro for who you are, but maybe you can do an introduction more about your journey and where you are now today.
Sure. Well, like you mentioned in the intro, I've always come from corporate. My whole entire career has been the corporate world. And but I always knew there was something more for me. I just didn't know what it was, and I tried all sorts of businesses, network marketing, you name it. I tried it, and I think my husband rolls his eyes every time I talk about it. But it wasn't until this finance that I really took it seriously. And the more I got into it, the more learning I did. I really quickly realized that if I didn't know a lot about this, there's probably a lot more people out there who didn't. And like you mentioned, it really changed for me when I started to learn about it, and then realized that my own financial plan wasn't being taken care of, and especially for my kids. And that's when it nailed it for me.
I love that. And I find too, like, I feel like looking just back into school, even for myself, I think it would have been nicer to see those as electives, or just kind of an option for kids to kind of start to consider it. Even entrepreneurship, like business classes. Like, I think those would be so successful for a lot. And I think a lot of teenagers, or whatever age they are, might be able to focus their time and energy in different areas as well. And they might be able to see, like, oh, because I don't know about you, but our electives were cooking, metalwork, like, like metalwork and woodwork. I'm like, I don't want to build a house. I don't metalwork. I was so scared of all the tools. I just actually, this should have been a sign that I was going to be an entrepreneur / leader, because I just got the guys in my class to do the work for me, and I just oversee.
That's great. Well, at least you recognize it early on. But yes, you're right. I mean, mine was the same thing: sewing, cooking, metalwork, all that kind of stuff. And I think, honestly, I think the school systems need to change, because the world is changing. So why not our school system, right? And, I don't know if I'll ever use my history or geography classes from before. I don't think I remember, but more and more. So I really believe, now that I've been doing this for a while, that we really need to start kids young and help them go into that, and just keep layering it upon layer every year until they maybe hit, between grade 10 and 12, and talk more about business and ownership, and give them the choice of decide what they want to do, which route they want to go, whether it's university or become an entrepreneur.
Yes. And I remember having this conversation with, her name was actually Brittany, a long time ago, when I just started out as an entrepreneur. And she made a comment about, she wasn't really in the financial pieces, but more in insurance. But she made a comment that stood out to me. It doesn't ever hurt to start young, teaching kids on finance, even 5 and up. And it's funny, because we have a book here, and right now everybody, as you know, probably uses more credit card than money. So it's kind of, even for us to, like, when we go to, like, the markets, I try to bring change so my daughter can learn how to, like, have that interaction and understand, like, oh, I gave you $2, it's only 25 cents. How much do I get back? By the way, this is like a very cheap bookstore here. Look, it's not, you're never going to find anything for 25 cents nowadays, but this is like we found the prime over here in Machosen.
Well, that's great that you helped your daughter with that. But the other thing too, what I did when my kids were young, and when they used to get like maybe $1 for an allowance, I would help them set up like a little wallet or envelope, so that they can learn about how to divide their money into like 5 different areas. It could be like buying for toys, education, like books, like miscellaneous, like having to go like to a movie, or like one for gift, giving back. So I set up these envelopes so that they can utilize this dollar and try to figure out where to do it, so that if they wanted a toy, they would have to save up to go buy that Hot Wheels or whatever it might be. So they have to look in the envelope, so it kind of gets them involved. Yeah.
I really like that. I'm going to tell my husband after this. This is what we're doing. We actually, because my husband has a 3D printer, so he made coins. And so we made in our gold china cabinet, we went out to the dollar store and put like money on them. So if they behave, you get a coin, and you had to save up. And then you go to the store here in our china cabinet, and you pick if you had enough money. Then we kind of did it that way. So we kind of did it in the same senses, but with fake money.
Yeah, I think it reduces a lot of temper tantrums when you do that, because if they don't have enough money saved, then now next week, by doing chores or having their allowance, will allow them to save that much more, so they can go and buy that. So it's kind of a delayed gratification in a way that you're teaching them, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like there's no, as we all know, well, there are books out there on how to parent, but there's no real book out there to parent when every single day is such a change in dynamics. And so it's just always trying to adjust and change what works best to in the family. With that, I know there's a lot, sometimes I would say, for me anyways, PTSD when it comes around trauma with money, and there's different stories to everybody's trauma with maybe money and or money in itself. Maybe they never thought of it considered like trauma. When I did my course, like, trauma with money, I didn't even consider it as trauma until I took the course, because I was like, it's just money. Like, I just like don't think about it. And I was like, oh, you know what? I fall in this factor. So I know we're going to touch a little bit more on that, but anybody listening about finances, I thought we should just kind of like touch on like at the beginning here, just so people are listening, they're like, oh, this is me. This is maybe where I'm at. So there's the fight, flight, freeze, and fawn kind of situation. I don't know about you, but I'm a fawner. So I'm a people pleasing, financially overgiving, undercharging. Sometimes I'm also the freeze, so I feel paralyzed when making financial decisions. The flight is avoiding money conversations and or any responsibilities, and then the flight becoming aggressive or hyper controlling about money. And so like I've noticed throughout my journey with money as a grown-up, as kid, I kind of would say I fell more in the fawn and freeze, two subsections, and never could like really move away from them. And I didn't really understand until I took the course. From your experience, have you felt kind of where you maybe feel a bit when you're kind of growing up?
Well, even though growing up, I just went to my mom and it worked. And if I went to my dad, and he usually doesn't, so I kind of play against each other. But I was lucky enough that, like I said, my dad taught me, to start saving early. But I guess looking back, I think a lot of times we get our experiences or lessons from our parents. So they might have passed things that they knew or didn't know about, and it sort of kind of transitioned down to you. Or some people I've heard from clients that, I grew up in a household and we didn't have any money, so this is what happened. So they kind of carried on that same story. So it does happen, and unfortunately, like I just want to let people know that it's not your fault, and that at least if you're aware of it, just be gentle and kind to yourself, and just start taking small baby steps, and just to sort of, without any judgment, just see where you are today and sort of work towards what you want to have.
100%. And that's why I wanted to kind of like highlight a few of those areas, just so if anyone's listening, you can start to see like, you know what? I get paralyzed when I think about money, or I just avoid it. I don't even want to think about it. I just let maybe the bills go a little crazy, and part of me knows I should be paying those, but I just can't get past X, Y, and Z. So everyone has a different state, and like you said, Joyce, it can come from family patterns, direct experiences. It shows up differently for all. One example, just so everyone can kind of it's not more about money, but it's more or less about like a story that I came across about cake. Like a great grandma made this recipe on this cake, and they were very adamant that they didn't want to use cream cheese, even though it calls for it. So they did like a filler of it. And so as the stages of the story has gone on and passed down the recipe, that cream cheese has never really been in the cake, because it was grandma said, no, you can't do it, kind of thing. And so we're just taking that tradition on and on and on until somebody's ready to kind of like wake it up a little bit and ask the question of why. Like so many people do like X, Y, and Z. And then the story's like, well, grandma or great grandma didn't like the cheesecake. Like it's because of X, Y, and Z over here. And so it kind of like segments us to change and segment us in a different way, a holding pattern, I guess one would say. And we're thinking like we can't be open to it because we were told from generations to generations to keep this going. So if we start asking those curious questions and trying to shift our mind a little bit, at the end of it, they end up realizing the cheesecake was the missing piece, or we needed one extra thing in there to make it extra soft, right? So yeah, I thought
for
that
sure.
definitely resonated when I listened to it. I was like, interesting. It makes you think of what has been brought down in tradition.
Oh, definitely. And like I think about sometimes you hear your parents in the back of your mind going, you should do this or do that, and
Yeah.
it's all coming from like the patterns, and to take that and break that pattern is a key thing for yourself, because like you said, over time, generationally, things have changed. So we don't have to do what our grandparents did, right?
Yes. It's okay to shake it up.
For sure.
I thought maybe we can talk about, like, for those who might be feeling overwhelmed with their financial journey, like where to start. Because I know, I'll just use me for example. When I also think about it, like it's hard to even, like, I'm pretty good at like savings and doing X, Y, and Z here, but if I want to make that momentum impact and really be well prepared for retirement, I get overwhelmed and I just shut down. Have any kind of tips for anyone listening who might be feeling like that as well?
Yes, finance can definitely be daunting, to say the least. And like, again, it depends on, where you're at. And so one thing I like to suggest, for one thing, is that, which we didn't get in school, is the education. I really believe that if we understand just the fundamentals, basic understanding of how money and debt works, we can start there. And then, just to take one step at a time, and work with a financial professional who can answer your questions. And again, don't feel embarrassed or shamed by it. But also, what I would suggest to people a lot too is to just track their expenses for maybe 1 to 2 weeks, where they're spending. Because as you know, it's so easy to purchase things. Like, I got Amazon, I've got Prime, all I have to do is buy and click and it's charged, right? So just be aware of where your spending is. So that would be, I think, a key way to start, at least to understand where you're at, right? But like I said, once you understand the fundamentals, then you can make those decisions based on what you want.
I like that. And there's so many things out there that you can use to help you track, right? I find sometimes people get a little overwhelmed. You can use a notebook. You can make, if you're like pen and paper kind of person, that's okay. If you like the computer, you can use something as simple as like an Excel spreadsheet. I find, like, for the business and for the house expenses stuff that I do, it's all in a simple Excel spreadsheet. And actually, my husband makes fun of me because I have it weirdly laid out, but I'm like, this is how my brain functions. It needs to be this way.
Yeah, for sure. It has to work for what your style is, because we all have different ways of like learning styles. And like you, I use my Excel spreadsheet as well. I could use an app, but I don't use it that often. I don't know why, but to me, I think having the pen to paper works best for me, and then putting it into an Excel spreadsheet, because at a glance, I can see everything. So there are definitely apps out there, but everybody has to find what works for them.
There are so many programs out there, so it's just a matter of finding what works best for you. And I find that a lot of people get overwhelmed because there is so many. So just take it back to the basics and start just tracking, like you're saying. Is there any kind of, if they didn't even know, so you're saying then just going back, maybe write down on like a daily basis each week of what they've spending money on to kind of start that.
You can even just, I don't know if in your phone you can use your notes page, or just carry a notebook around, because I used to do that when all this, technology came into play. So I just use just a little notebook, and every time I spent money, I just tracked it. Or the other thing too is what I suggest for people, if they really want to take a dive deep into what they've been doing, is take the last 3 months of your bank statements, credit card statements, and just use a color highlighter and have fun with it, and just highlight where you're spending it and track where the categories are that you're usually spending a lot of money. So I, work with clients, I see a lot of skip the dishes, Amazon, things like that, right? And it just adds up, and until you realize where it's going, then, it's hard to determine what it is. And that's where I find that a lot of people find it shocking to find out where they're spending their money.
Yeah. So I would say the most impactful class that I've had in university was finance class. I loved it. And it made me realize how much money I was spending on coffee.
Yes.
You're just having this
Exactly.
conversation now. I was like, right now
Yes.
my new addiction is going out and getting a coffee because that's my like pick me up of like
Yeah.
the busy week.
I know we have something called the Starbucks plan.
Yes, I feel
Right.
I've now mastered of like where's the cheapest place to go to get a coffee so I don't feel too guilty that's not going to break an arm and leg.
Or make your own.
Yes, we do have our own coffee maker, but it's a joke now with my husband that it takes too much time and effort. Like those fancy ones that you like at baristas, like that they use in like Starbucks, like they're pretty decently fancy, but
Yeah.
I feel like it's just like a lot of work to get my coffee when I have two small kids.
Oh, that's funny.
Maybe we can kind of highlight on like how to understand how debt works and how to like that's like I know very big topic, but I don't have the stats in front of me, but I do know that in today's world, the debt world it's pretty high, the numbers, surprisingly. And just because we have so much more accessibility with credit cards versus money on hand, like it's bananas to think of back in the day when I had so much more cash just in my purse. But now it's just more credit cards.
Yeah. It's just
And
too
that's
easy,
like
right, to tap. Yeah, for
Mhm.
sure. So money and debt. I guess debt is different.
Mhm.
There's different types of debt. There's good debt and there's bad debt, right? You could have good debt in that you might invest in sort of like a business for yourself, or you have a debt for your mortgage or a recreation home, or just get a loan to start up your business. So that's good debt because there is value to it. There's an asset to it at the end of the day that's worth something. Whereas bad debt is usually credit cards with high interest rates that
Yes.
continue to grow. And then you find yourself in a situation where you can't pay it off or pay it down. So, it's just have to look at, which one do you want to be at? Do you want your money working for you or against you? So I
Mhm.
really believe in investing yourself first. Number
Yep.
one is, you used to hear that all the time. Take 10% of your money and then invest it, right? And I believe that is true. That's what I've done with my kids, because if I know that they put some money away towards their savings for their future, what
Mhm.
they have left over, they're going to live within the means of that
Yep.
money. And I'm not as worried that because I know that they put away savings, then they
Mhm.
can spend this and still have the lifestyle that they want to have, right?
Mhm.
So use debt in a way that to leverage assets. And, I'm not saying don't live the lifestyle. It's just plan for it.
Mhm. Yeah. And just like we were just mentioning early too, like talking to the kids earlier too, if you have kids, I think is great. You want to know when you were talking, it just made me think of that I was just telling my aunt. So my daughter's like to us being like, Auntie must be super rich because she has a pool. And we're like, well, doesn't work that way. But, and then she's like, you know what? It was not Auntie. It's probably Uncle because he makes amazing blueberry pancakes. He must be like from McDonald's or something. I'm
Oh,
like,
that's so good. That's
I'm like,
cute.
you're so cute. I'm like, well, it doesn't work like that. And I wouldn't say there, I'm like, I have to tell them that.
Yeah, no kidding. That's
It's
funny.
how they
I
think.
used to say, I used to say to my husband, well, I've got checks. I have money. Like, what's the
Yeah.
problem, right? I have checks, so there's money.
Well, what is
But
that
yeah.
thing on going around like what used to be trending on TikTok about girl math? Ongoing joke about girl math. How I'll just use me for example. So we went to Walmart, and I probably got about 2 pairs of shoes, maybe 10 different shirts for back to school stuff. And it ended
Mm-hmm.
up everything was like $5. So at the end of the price tag was like $80. And so we came home and I said to my husband, like, girl math, technically we could have just bought 1 pair of shoes, but we got all of this. So we have time to he's like, it doesn't work that way.
The more you spend, the more you save. Yeah.
It seems to be like a joke though, but I'm like, does our brain always look like that? I'm like, maybe we're just like always trying to shop in a different more norm of forms.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, I think it was really important to highlight on debt too, because there is different forms of debt. Sometimes we don't really think of. Sometimes we just think of the bad debt, especially because it's all over social media of like, are you trying to get out of debt, or like call us to get you out of debt, or whichever.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we have a hit on that right now really heavily on social media. So it's hard to not consider any other kind of debt sometimes when that's all that's being thrown at us online.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I've got clients who are out of debt, but yet they're not wealthy either, right? So I think that's the thing, is having a balance, because like I said, good debt, bad debt, because if you just keep paying, not saving and spending, but like saying using cash, but yet, you're not charging a credit card, but you're not saving money, that doesn't work either. So you have to make sure that you have a little bit of both, or at least pay down as much debt and not charge it, but save. The key thing is to save money, not spend it all.
Yes, 100%. I know one of my questions was compounding interest. I feel like I'm back in finance class.
Do you want a refresher, Brittany?
Yes, maybe, please. I actually really did like finance. I did really well in finance class. I didn't think I was. It's one of my favorite classes for my BBA.
Yeah, compounding interest, that's a fun one. I can't use a calculator to figure it out for the life of me, but I do know the rule of 72. Yes. So compounding interest, I guess what I can say is time is your friend. Mm-hmm. And if you're in good investments, have good high rate of returns, whether you're using like a professional or a professional money manager, make sure that you're getting those returns, because even 1% makes a difference. So it's just a simple way of, to calculate that. And you want to be able to have your money working hard for you, because think of it as a snowball. Like the more you put in, or even when you start young, you can put a little bit, like $25, $50 a month. And over time, it's going to keep compounding and growing. So it's like having this big snowball, and it's going to just keep getting bigger and bigger. But also works in the reverse for debt, because if you don't pay it off or pay it down, that can keep increasing as well. Yes. Right? Yeah. But so the rule of 72 is something that I share with my clients all the time. A lot of people, for some reason, and I remember hearing about it with my other financial planner, but this is something that's really should be taught in school. If nothing else, just this one thing should be taught. And it's just so simple. You just take 72 divided by the rate of return equals the number of years for your money to double or compound.
Yes.
Right? So to give an example, let's just say that, you're 29 and you're going to inherit money, and you've given $10,000 to invest this money to retire with. So if you take the rule of 72 and you were to go get a return of, say, 4%, 72 divided by 4 is 18, which means, say, at the age of 29 with $10,000, your money is going to double every 18 years. So when you turn 65, you have $40,000 to retire with. Not a lot of us can live on that, let alone retire with. But let's just say that, on the other hand, if you had like a 12% return on your money, so if you take 72 divided by 12 is 6. So your money is doubling every 6 years. So with that same time frame, same $10,000 at the age of 29, by the time you get to 65, you probably have around $640,000 in savings. So which would you prefer, right? So that's why having time and getting good returns will work in your favor.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I love that. And going back to I wish they maybe have that class just on Rule 72, just for like a semester for kids, and just having like mini like workshops on what that looks like, I think would do wonders for everybody. Like I know, like even though I took that in university, like it's nice to have like a little refresher.
Did they teach you that in finance?
Yes.
At university? Oh, okay.
I'm trying to remember the teacher's name. He was like my favorite professor, one of my favorite professors that I had. And you can just tell that he loved finance and teaching like the college kids money, because he made us do sit down and really think about like just the coffee that we spent the money on, because a lot of us were on campus 24/7. So it was just more organic to go and get that coffee right in the shop than even just bringing like a thermos of coffee. And like, so we would like go workshop through all of that and how much money we could save and or invest in different areas within, not just on this side of investing, but like we looked at other sides of investing too. So yeah, it feels like 100 years since I had that course, but I would say it's one of the best. I did back-to-back programs with him on those.
I think it's really important that when you do have, because I had a math teacher at school in grade 8 and he was the worst. But anyway, it makes a huge difference on the instructor that you have, because again, a girlfriend of mine went to 4 years of university and she didn't learn any of this. So it's just, it's really, whoever has that passion for teaching this, right?
Yes. I feel like there's some interesting teachers out there that doesn't seem like they fell in the right position. And then there's some that just like, this is like, they love numbers. That's their thing, kind of thing. And they'll take whatever they need to do to make sure you learn it. And like, I've mentioned on the show that I have a learning disability. I have dyslexia. And so I really appreciated with this teacher that he would stay after class with me. He would let me email him whenever I needed to make sure that I understood the course. And then he also, he just went above and beyond, and it didn't felt like it was an inconvenience if I had to go ask for help. It felt like he really generally cared for every single student in that class to have a passing mark, not just to get their diploma or anything like that or degree, but he really wanted to truly make sure that everyone understood what was being presented to us too.
Yeah.
I think, which is exciting. And so he would change his model too. So if we couldn't understand the math a certain way, he would try, okay, well, let's try this. And I think that's like the best, those are the best teachers, because they want to learn with the different student who has different ways of learning. And I would love to see that more. I know teachers right now are so drowned out with all the things, but I think there's a way that we can present like a safe room still, so kids safe to ask those questions.
Totally. I get that. And you were one of the very lucky ones, because I don't think there's a lot of teachers like that out there. At least I haven't come across it personally. Yeah. And this is also the reason why I'm so passionate about what I do, and that enough to quit my job. Yes. And because there is missing information out there. And I really believe in sharing and educating people on how money and debt works. And, when I work with clients, I always want to make sure that they understand, so that when we're talking about saving or paying off debt or investing, they really truly know what they're doing. So then they're making informed choices for themselves. So it's not me telling them what to do. It's them deciding what's right for them.
Yes.
And giving them the opportunity to ask questions, right?
Exactly. And talking about finance is such a hard topic for a lot of people. So a lot of people who are listening right now, you're not the only one. There's a lot of people that will just kind of like mask behind it and or push through it. And it's okay to have those conversations in a safe space. And so like I had one of these conversations in the past. I had somebody who was a counselor on the show. And I brought up that it's okay to kind of go around and make sure you find the right counselor or therapist, whoever you're talking to, because you want to make sure that there's that connection, making sure that you're feeling heard and listened to than just another number. And I think that's so important to hear talking about anything finance wise. Like, you don't want to feel like you're just another number when you feel like maybe you're the problem. But you're not the problem. I promise.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. And that's part of, I almost feel like a financial counselor is sometimes a financial coach, because you are listening to what people are saying, their understanding and their history and their stories around money. So what is it that we can do to help them in a safe environment, talk about it, answering questions, make them feel better without any judgment at all. And like, I always just give them kudos for recognizing that they're seeking knowledge and wanting help. So then we can start that relationship and build upon that. And, and I see this especially with a lot of divorced women, to be honest with you, Brittany, because recently I I've had, several ladies who came to me and their spouse managed all their money. So when they got divorced, they had no idea, like they have no knowledge, no idea what to do. So when I took them through our education and then provided them the guidelines, or not guidelines, but just the guidance of how to move through it, they just felt like a sense of relief after. And then again, taking those small actions to build on that, to grow their, their wealth or whatever that needs to be to take them from where they are today to where they want to go. So it's so empowering and powerful to recognize that. And that's why I'm doing what I'm doing now, because I see that people need and want help, but nobody's there to just share that with them. Like, where do you go? Most people go to the internet, right? And Google.
Yes. And I tapping on to I feel like, well, we can see already the trends for higher divorce rates. The trend too, that women, unfortunately, they don't have that much control their finances because it's just naturally sent over to the other spouse, partner, and vice versa. Like there's usually somebody else who will take reign. So for me, like I'm more inclined of like doing like the kid pickup and doing all these other things. And sometimes these just kind of get placed. We have our different roles and responsibilities in the house. And sometimes we lose track of them because we are sometimes in a state of chaos when you have young kids or things are moving left, right, center. Sometimes we forget that that piece of that role kind of got moved off our plate too. And it was just easier too, because you're already doing so much and that person's already taking lead on it. So why not let them just take lead too? So having that conversation more for women and being more empowered within their finances. I love that you're doing that monthly get together too. Money, oh my goodness.
Money and mimosas.
Yeah, I know. Why can't I? Obviously, you just need to go back on the weekend today.
Oh, that's okay.
My brain doesn't want to compute those words. But I love that you're doing that because it's giving a safe place for a woman to come and talk about it and not be judged and heard and figure out solutions together on how to move the needle forward than feeling stuck and kind of like, because sometimes it's not good feeling when you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed or you're wanting to know, like, I'll just use me as an example. I always use me as an example, but right now I'm like kind of stuck. Like when I have ADHD and I get overwhelmed with certain things and things are always coming at me left, right, and center. If I know I know mentally I need to do that one thing, but if I don't have that support or that need or that safe place, I just shut down. I just will naturally shut down, and no, it doesn't matter how much you tell me, my brain won't compute it. It won't want to process it. And I think a lot of us is in that state sometimes if we do have trauma related more to the money piece, that we just kind of get locked and we just don't know how to react sometimes.
Yeah. I think with, women are so busy. We are trying to juggle households, careers, parents, you name it, we've got it. And I think Red Survey said that, 30% of women just don't have the time to even think about it, right? Yeah. So being that's the case, I think that just again, when we don't understand, there's lack of understanding, we avoid things, so which leads to lack of self-confidence. Yeah. But if you even have just the basic knowledge of it, it will take you far, like just understanding it. And I just want women to become their CFO of their household.
Yes, which was going to kind of lead into like building your own financial house, the foundation. What does building the financial house look like? Or like even just a start to build some kind of like the educational pieces? I don't want to overwhelm anybody.
Yeah. Financial house. The best thing I can describe it is like building a home. You need the foundation to be solid before you build up, right? Yeah. So a financial house to me is to be prepared for your family, which means make sure that you have, life insurance, critical illness, disability, a will, your estate planning in place, because life happens, unfortunately. And you want to be able to prepare that if there's some unforeseen circumstances that happen, whether you lose a job or someone becomes ill, they're not able to work. You are your biggest asset. So we want to be able to protect your income. So then that way, if something happens, there's still money coming in.
Yes.
And, for life insurance, like, when I see a lot of these GoFundMe pages, like, I just think, oh no, it's another family not helped. And I need to get out there more. I need more help, to do this. So, I just want to start with that. So that is the foundation, making sure that your family is protected in case anything happens, your income is protected, and that you have things in place that, if something does happen, a will is in place. And anybody who has a bank account should have a will. And because if you don't, it can easily go into probate and it could take years. And the government will take probably 50% of that. So you want to be able to pass on what you have for your family in a most tax efficient way, to be able to do that. So to me, that is the financial house. So once you have that in place, then you build up. And that's when all the other investment options can come into play.
And I like that you made a mention of the will, because it took us a long time to get a will. I think we bought the house and then we had my daughter, but then that's probably the pushing point when we finally did, right? So once we had the first, but it was always something that we talked about, even when we bought the house, and it probably took a solid 3 years-ish time
to
finally get the will. But that's the one thing I also saw too. A lot of people buying houses together or vice versa, and then they don't have anything at all.
I know.
And then it just seems like chaos too, to try to get things. When you're already dealing with so much, it's easier to in a way to have the will there too, because when things happen, that's the last thing that's going to be on your mind.
Exactly. Really, it comes down to peace of mind. That's what it gives you, because I don't want to scare anybody, but in Canada, if you're a parent and for instance, if we had a client who both parents unfortunately died in a car accident, so they left their daughter behind. Because they didn't have a will, it took grandma 7 months while she's in social the government took custody of her. She had to go and fight in the courts, even though she's grandma, 7 months to get access that she can take on, take her daughter and raise her daughter or granddaughter. So, it's so important, especially as a parent, that you take care of your family. And this is when I went, oh my God, how do people know? People need to know this, and it's how do I educate them without scaring them? But it's really giving you peace of mind, bottom line.
Yes. Yeah. I think that was probably the biggest push for us, because we know that the system isn't the greatest, and that because a lot of people think, oh, it'll be fine. They can just take them and they're blood, It's no, sorry. They go into foster. They go into the system. They get lost in the system.
That's right.
I've seen it. So I'm just I've always been okay, today's the day. And there's a lot of great lawyers out there. So if you're stuck thinking of, it's too much money, at the end of the day, I would say, for how much, I'm trying to think of how to put this. I get where people are coming from, that a lawyer bill is a lot of money, but once you pay it and then you can see how much ease it's going to be brought in for future and so forth, it's priceless, I guess.
Totally. Yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, you can shop around. Notaries can help as well. And, we can refer people. I can help that with, certain things as well, like simple, basic wills, that there's opportunities there as well. But I definitely would encourage people that if they don't have a will, put something in place, even if it's just something basic. It's better than nothing, right?
Yes. Yeah. We were going to do that and just get a notary to sign off of it. But then we end up going just full on the lawyer, because we end up doing some extra things. So it was just easier to get it all one and done, and we don't have to see them again.
Yes, I agree.
So we're almost at time. It's going to go by really fast. Should we tell everyone what we have planned?
Yes, love to share that. It's exciting.
I'm excited. for anyone who doesn't know, because I wear many hats, this year, I would say in February, I finished my certification with money, with the TOM organization, Trauma with Money. And I'm now a certified Trauma with Money practitioner. And Joyce and I have come together to create an event that I'm super excited for on September 25th. Rewrite the Rules. Women, Worth, and Wealth. Let me see if I can share the screen. I was practicing before, so let me see if I got this. I will get it for everybody, for anyone who's visually looking at what we're doing.
Do we need a drum roll here?
Yes, there we go. Can you see it?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. So there's some little tweaks that I still need to make on the website, but it is live for everybody. We only have 12 seats available because Joyce and I know how much talking about money, finances it's a very emotional. We want it to be a very safe, open space for everybody. And so we want this event to be very small and intimate. See, look, it even has a countdown for us, Joyce.
Oh, wow. Okay, so 45 days. Okay.
45 hours until the event on September 25th. And we are going to have it at Joyce's office. I'll put up the venue here. As it switches out at the financial office at 519-284 Pete Road in Langford, BC. So it's an in-person event. We are, again, wanting it in person to make sure that it's very intimate and we can have the conversations flowing, and just so we can see people, because I find I have to go back so I can see your face, Joyce, because I couldn't when I was sharing the screen. Yeah, I'm super excited. We have mapped out pretty much a full in-depth conversation. I don't want to share the full timeline, but it's about financial education and trauma with money and different ways how we can shift the mind frame a little bit and work together to make sure that we kind of move past the trauma as well.
I think, like you said, it's a small, intimate space. We want people to feel comfortable that, it's their journey, whether they choose to share with others, it's up to them. But we just want to be able to help you get through what it is that's holding you back and to overcome, past experiences or whatever you might have going on, and just to help you move forward with it. So it is, definitely a safe space that we want to assure you that is going to happen.
Yes. So only 12 spots I feel like Joyce and I will do this again. So if it sells out fast, no one stress out. This is our first launch together. So we're testing the waters here, but I'm super excited for the workshop. I've been calling it a workshop because I'm the kind of person that will give you work too.
Yes, there is going to be work, whether it's learning how to track, learning how to figure out what you spend. Yes, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun, casual, but yet there's going to be some work to be done there.
Yes. The doors will open up at 6:00, but it will start at 6:30. I'm excited. Is it on a Thursday? I think it's on a Thursday, isn't it?
Yeah, it is Thursday. And the address is Suite 519, 2840 Pete Road in Langford. And so if you know Rhino Coffee, we're upstairs above that in the same building.
Yes. I'm going to actually, for anybody just listening right now, multitasking, I'll put the website in the comments for anyone locally listening, or who knows, maybe you're down in Seattle and you're like, I'm coming up for this. Come on up.
Join us.
Yes. Yeah. Amazing. I'm so excited, and we'll release more. So make sure you follow Joyce and I on socials and just kind of follow along, and you can see us. If you can't make it to this one, there'll be a next one. So make sure you kind of follow us along and support us as well. We're almost again at time. Joyce, is there any other last minute thoughts you want to share with the listeners today?
Well, I guess, we talked a lot about finance today and money and trauma and what's happening in your life. So I really would encourage you that if you have a chance and opportunity to come join us for the evening and for an hour and a half, I know you're going to get a lot from it. And we want to be able to support you through your journey. And if nothing else, do it for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yes. And I know, since I've taken that program for myself, has been such a transformational journey in different ways than just money. I'd just like to kind of reiterate, because money is kind of interlocked in different ways than we even know that it was. So for me to come in to do this workshop with you, Joyce, I'm super excited and just see the other transformational changes that others can maybe even experience in more ways than one. So I'm super excited for us to do this and more to come.
Yes, for sure. I look forward to it. And our first time, Brittany. So I'm looking forward to working with you. And, I'm going to learn a lot more from you as well. So we'll see what happens.
I'm super excited. Well, we're pretty much at time, everyone. Next week, I have Carson coming on. I actually randomly found her on TikTok. And she shared a video with me, so I'll be sharing the video next week. I'm hoping for her to send it. But more or less, it was how employers let individuals go in the workforce and what's ethically not ethical sometimes. And so we're going to be digging into that and just what she's experiencing as well through the job market. So please come in next week with any kind of questions for us as well. For all the listeners, a big thank you for today, and a big thank you to the UFO Paranormal Network and United Public Radio Network. With that, everyone, I really hope you have an amazing day. And Joyce, again, thank you for coming on, and we'll have you back again. We'll do some more updates for everybody with how the workshop went, and we'll dig in a little bit more too. Maybe we'll do like a live workshop for everyone if they're interested.
Wow. That'd be great. Thanks, Brittany. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, thank you. With that, everyone, remember your journey is unique and your worth is unquestionable. Have a wonderful day, everyone.